Hi guys, so this is the second lesson of the voice leading series, and in today's lesson we're repeating the exercise we did in lesson 1 with the first 4 chords from Stella by Starlight. Now the difference today is we are taking a Tim Miller, Mick Goodricke approach, which is based on the assumption that the bass note, the root of the chord, has been taken care for you by a bassist. Now if you are playing as a soloist, either on the piano or the guitar, there's no bass player there. Now there's 2 reasons why this still works. One is, as a piano player, your left hand is the bassist, and as a guitarist you can add those bass notes on the lower strings and have a nice higher voicing on the upper strings. However, even if you aren't able to do that for technical limitations often on the guitar, less so on the piano, but let's say that we weren't adding the low notes in for whatever reason, the listener, because of the nature of how harmony functions, and functional harmony functions I should say, functional harmony implies bass notes by the fact that one chord moves to another. Even an uninformed listener has heard these movements so many times that their brain is often able to fill in the low notes psychoacoustically. Let's have a little look at the exercise then. So we start, as usual, with our 2 columns. Ingredients and inversion. The 4 chords we're going to be using just for the purposes of today's video: E minor 7 flat 5, or E half diminished, however you want to write it, A7, C minor 7, F7. And I'm going to write the ingredients out. The root of each chord is being handled. The bass player will be dealing with those. What we're going to do first of all is we're going to get rid of the roots from this column. Now I've deliberately written those as the first thing, so E, A, C and F. So I'm going to erase E, A, C and F from my chart. They're not going to be included. And now we're just going to continue like we did in lesson 1 by finding the closest journey through our remaining notes. So let's go through that. So the remaining notes in the E half diminished chord: G, B flat and D. E is being taken by the bassist, so we don't need to worry about it. Next chord, A7, C sharp, E and G. Well, again, I notice that I've got a G in common there, G to G. I'm going to do each pair of chords together this time, like slightly different to last week's lesson. So now all I've got left is B flat to C sharp or D to E. So B flat to E is a bit of a journey. B flat to C sharp, it's a bit of a journey as well. That is an augmented second. But D to E is the obvious correct answer there. So therefore C sharp and B flat become a pair. Next chord, C sharp, E, G, E flat, G and B flat. Well, G to G, E to E flat. Now they are alphabetically next door notes, so it's very unlikely that, alphabetically they're the same note. It's very unlikely there's going to be anything closer, but we will double check. Because E to E flat is a semitone and E to B flat is a diminished fifth, semitone is the smallest movement we can make, which isn't the same note. If I then look at C sharp to E flat, that's a tone away, but it's what we call a diminished second. Then C sharp to B flat is what we call an augmented second. They are very close, but E to E flat wins. Therefore, C sharp is going to be going to B flat. Finally, E flat to A, G to C, B flat to E flat. Well, we've got a pair of E flats. G, upper tone to A, upper fourth to C, B flat, down a semitone to A, upper tone to C. Now, we're in a bit of a pickle here with this one because B flat to A is only a semitone, but if we do that, then G to C will be a fourth. So this is one of the situations where we're going to have to compromise a little bit here. So although B flat to A is closer, the overall journey of the chord is smaller if we go G to A and B flat to C, because that's a tone and that's a tone, rather than a semitone and a fourth. See, that doesn't really give us smooth voice leading. So sometimes you do actually have to give the movement to the bigger interval. In this instance, a semitone between B flat and A has been sacrificed so that we can do a tone between both notes. So 2 tones is of course 2 tones, whereas B flat to A is a semitone plus G to C, that's a fourth plus a semitone in all. That's too big, that's not good voice leading. Finally, we're going to write our answers out in the inversions column. So we're just using triads here. My boy Barry Harris, who I really love watching on YouTube, he always talks about playing smaller chords. So here we've reduced our 4-part voicings from lesson 1 down to 3-part voicings, what we call triads. And these triads are going to sound really effective and going to move really nicely through the progression. So let's start on G. In fact, I'll tell you what, today guys, different to the last video, I'm not going to start in the same order. Let's do this in reverse order. So I'm going to write these as D, B flat, and G. So in the last video, I wrote them in the same order they're written here. I'm choosing a different inversion here, just for fun. D, B flat, G. So start on D. Well, D goes to E, D to E, E to E flat to E flat. I'm just following my lines through. B flat. B flat goes to C sharp. C sharp goes to B flat goes to C. G, G goes to G, G goes to G, G goes to A. And we're done. Let's hear how it sounds. These are our chords before. And after, firstly, without the low notes. And after, with the bass notes added. So a slightly different sound there, less jumpy, more motion. The voicing I've chosen there is particularly open, which I really like. As always, we're just trying to find new ways to get through the same old chords. The chords rarely change in these old standards, that's why we call them standards. So trying to come up with a million different ways to work your way through will keep you sounding fresh. So the particular example I've come up with today might not be one I end up sticking with, but if I try this starting on different inversions of the 4 chords, I'm going to find voicings that I do particularly like, and I can end up mixing and matching. So see how you get on with these. In the 3rd video, we're going to be working out what to do with the chords when you are also trying to add the melody on top and actually considering the melody note in the voice leading equation. So maybe even try and have a little head start with that exercise yourself this week. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, share and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I look forward to seeing you in video 3. Take care. Cheers.